Hello, everybody. This is Commissar Mike L. alongside Inquisitor Nathan, and this is podcast number 2.
We are on episode 2, finally. Finally, we are here with episode number 2. So we're going to start off with some news that's going on, and or some things that have been released. Of course, everyone knows there's the new Gilman model out that I don't like the look of it. It seems like nobody likes the look of it. I think the face looks stupid. The facial features look stupid. Have you seen him?
Why are there torches on this dude's armor? Like, seriously. Even the flaming sword looks stupid.
I think everyone's like, I've seen some things where people are trying to like model it to be the God Emperor, like just modify it, I guess, or modify the model, which looks kind of cool, I guess. I don't know, but the Forge World one still looks way better. So I don't know. It just looks super stupid, I think. And speaking of Forge World, they actually have some new models out. They've got their new. The Commissar is gonna make fun of me here, but I don't care because I think they look awesome. But Forge World has these new Custodes, Legio Custodes, and I've heard people say Custodes, but I really do think that's wrong. I think it's actually Legio Custodes. If there's any Games Workshop personnel that can correct that'd be great, or settle end that debate. But the Legio Custodes armed forces, I was asking at LVO 2017 if they had these guys as a separate unit, and at the time, even right at LVO, you could only get the unit of Legio Custodes guys if you bought the Burning of Prospero. And that's how you would get them. I don't even know if there were rules to use them, like for 40k. But now they have it where you can get a Legio Custodes Armored Assault Force, and that looks like it has the Caladius Grav tank in it, and whatever one of the other Grav vehicles is. I don't know if it's a carrier or something there. In fact, we can take a look at that right now. It looks like it's got Legio Custodes Cornus Grav carriers, Aresian Caladius Grav tank. So yeah, it's got a Grav carrier and a Grav tank. I think they look awesome. He thinks they look stupid.
They are. No self-respecting 40k player should use them. It looks like the Oscar Mayer Wiener van floating around the battle top.
The Oscar Mayer Wiener van?
Exactly.
He thinks they look like hot dogs. I think you're stupid. I think they look cool.
It looks like a hot dog in a bun with like ketchup and mustard on it, the way they got them painted. Yeah. Forget it. Just don't do it.
No, I'm going to now, and I'm going to have an Oscar Mayer Wiener sticker on it just to hurt your butt when I like beat you with them. I'm like, you got beat by the Oscar Mayer Wiener van, dude. How do you feel about that? But no, I think they look cool, and I'll probably be ordering some of them. I kind of just want to know how they play. I don't know how, like, fit with themes or anything that would be, since they never leave Terra or whatever, but I think they're really cool models. Forge World has released a couple of things. They've got the Mazaral, the Butcher, the Demon Prince of Khorne. He got released, and this looks really cool. I don't play Chaos Demons, but if I was gonna probably start another army, Chaos Demons or Renegades are right up there with what I would want to start working on. So those would be the two ones that I'd be looking at, I think. If you're going to start another army, what do you think you'd be starting?
After giving it much thought, I don't even want to do Space Marines anymore. I'm Guard for life.
Imp Guard for life, says the Commissar. Yeah, I know. You just neglected that Demi company that you bought. Just kind of sitting there. So, yeah, in other news, and this has been talked about to death now. It's been all over every Facebook page group. But, yes, there was that whole PETA BS that happened, and PETA was like, "Bruh, haha, we're just gonna like take a shit at gamers again and to get publicity, and we released this thing about fur and the space wolves," and it was a stupid article, and like I said, everyone's talked about it to death. Now, what I have to admit, and I've been told by one admin on some page, I don't even remember where on Facebook, but he was like, "This has nothing to do with Gamergate or any of that or whatever." However, I contend that I think it does, because it seems like when people want publicity, or they want to bring a political message into something, or they want to inject that opinion, often it's like, well, let's turn and let's shit on gamers, or let's shit on gaming, and that is so annoying. I mean, that just pisses me off. So my first gut reaction was like, you know what? No, like, you're using it just for your own ends. Fuck you, PETA. Like, you guys are stupid. And this is stupid. This article is stupid. I just hate this. But I sent the guy a message. Don, I think was his name. Did you, by the way, did you even read that article? Did you see anything about that whole mess with the PETA thing?
All I had to do is read the headline, and that's about it.
And that was it. You're like, okay, this is stupid. Yeah, and that's what I should have done. That's what probably everyone should have done. So then they didn't accomplish what they wanted to do, which was just get the press and the publicity and see it. Dan Howe, that was his name. But yeah, I was like, hey, I just want to let you know that PETA's fucking stupid and this article is stupid. And yeah, so... Yeah, but if you do want to defend yourself, you know, we do this podcast. I did go elaborate a little more. The message I sent was like, see, despite the fact that like your organization does scare propaganda and does go way too far, like there are people who are pretty liberal that like hate things like the fur trade. They just think that kind of shit's ridiculous, and that's why it's never taken seriously. And to his credit, he actually did respond to me. So thank you, Dan Howe, for responding to me with grace. A lot of the people on the other side of the pond, the Brits, they like apparently not loved me, but like they really understood the tongue-in-cheek angle he was going for it. But he said, thanks for the invitation. I do worry that you've missed the point. He actually goes on to say that PETA is a silly organization with zero budget. Just by making ourselves look silly, we've gotten hundreds of thousands of people to stop and think about the cruelty of the fur industry, discuss it in their podcast, and embed it in the videos. So yeah, again, like we're doing now, they did their message. I mean, good. And that's why I don't have a problem mentioning it and bringing it up here just as a one-off thing, because obviously, like, it's stupid to wear real fur. I mean, it's just dumb. I mean, why do you have to do that? The status symbols are stupid like that, whatever. I agree with that much of it. So anyway, he says, of course, this was not attack on 40K. The person behind the campaign is a huge 40K Inquisition fan. He said that it wasn't an attack on the gaming industry, but kind of going back to my original point, I think that sometimes, even if they're not intending that, it snowballs into something that you don't want it to, and I think that's majorly what happened with the whole Gamergate crap, and we won't open up that can of worms, but I do want to just say that I think that happened, and things were said that were completely unfair and ridiculous. And that's what we kind of saw turn into with that whole thing. So that's really all we're going to say about that whole mess and the PETA article bullcrap, unless you had anything else you wanted to interject into that, Mike.
No, not really. Like I said, I saw the articles on Facebook and all that, and just read the title and moved on.
A good way to be, sir. So let's talk about LVO. I went to LVO 2017 this past weekend, or was it the weekend before that?
No, it was just last weekend.
Yeah. So I went to Las Vegas, which is awesome. Las Vegas is pretty cool. Yes, we did do Las Vegas things. We were gambling and such. But primarily we went for the Las Vegas Open, the largest 40K convention and tournament in the world. There were 400 people playing in the event that weekend. And there were vendors there. There was narrative events. There were other games like Guild Ball and Space Fleet or something along those lines. It's essentially a game that's a lot like Battlefleet Gothic, but it's something Drop Zone or something like that. Space Fleet Drop Zone? I don't know. I'll have to look that up because I think I'm getting that wrong. But there were other games there. There was Blood Bowl. People were playing Pathfinder. So there was lots of things going on at this con. It was just very cool. It was nice to meet everybody. I got to actually meet David Nordquist, which was super cool. I knew I recognized him, and I'm like, hey, that guy, but I don't want to bother him. But he was really nice and cool and was talking to me. So that was pretty great. And, I got to graciously, I accepted I got to go on the Frontline Gaming live stream, so they gave us a shout-out, which was super cool. I did get to speak to a couple of the competitive players in the tournament, tell me about their lists and just how the games are going for them, and did a little bit of coverage on that, which you can find on our YouTube channel and on the Facebook page. I put those videos up there, so if anyone wants to check that out, feel free to do so. I didn't talk too heavily or put out yet an article too heavily about the lists or the sort of competitive aspects of the game. And I think we're still kind of figuring out, if you would agree with me, Mike, where we kind of want to be with everything as far as what our focus is. But I think along the lines of the same reasons or ways that mini wargaming, for example, they focus that Dave Norquist told me that he enjoys the narrative aspects of the game, and that's where most players are, and I tend to agree with that. The person who is in charge of the narrative events, I was speaking with him, and he also had said to me that he really wants to see the narrative games come to a level where it's as big as the competitive and have as much coverage on that as the competitive aspect of the game did. And I think that would be great. I think it would be really cool to be able to go there and set up maybe a studio or get a table, actual table, and have it set up in the way that they did with the competitive event as well, because of course there's a lot of stuff to cover, talk about, and there are games, win and lose games involved with the narrative events as well. So for me, I think that would be something really cool to do. And next time you need to come with me, because that was a pain in the ass. Let me just tell you, I'm going to shame you on the podcast for this, because I got to play like one game of 40K because I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to talk to this person and that person and this person, and like not be rude to people and like soak up all the knowledge. My head was hurting, and I would get like, hey, where's your other guy? Oh, he couldn't make it. And Teresa's standing there awkwardly with her phone, like filming me, trying to help me out and stuff. I'm like, yeah, this is my fiance, she's helping me out. And but they were just like, bro, like everyone had this like media team, and then there's me like running around like an idiot trying to like seemingly professionally get these interviews and stuff. So get your ass to Las Vegas next time.
Hey, in all fairness, I thought about you watching Lady Gaga at the halftime show of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, Mike's a sports guy. I don't do go sports like Super Bowl. That's another crazy thing. It was Super Bowl weekend when we went to Las Vegas, so everything was super crowded. It was really fun in Bally's Casino. Like I said, we did some gambling. We played some slots and some blackjack and lost some money. Hooray. I wish I would have spent that money on models, especially considering Frontline had a cool discount going on for the weekend. But, we had fun. We did fun stuff. We went to a couple other places to see some stuff. Day 2, I did no coverage at all. No interviews, no talking, nothing. And then we went ahead and, just did Vegas stuff all day. So that was cool. We had a lot of fun doing that. But LVO is definitely interesting. One thing that I did learn, and I've gleaned, of course, not being a competitive player and relatively new to 40K in general, was that a lot of the conversations, and I say a lot, I'm talking like I had spoken to guys playing in the top 10 and just people playing in general in the tournament, and there was almost a common consensus that in competitive play of 40K, you're playing the game not the way the game is intended to be played, because you're not able to finish the rounds. You're not able to finish the game because the games will go to time before a round is up. So people will say, oh, that's why these Eldar are so good and these Eldar lists are good, because they can grab these objectives, sit on them, and sort of like play the time instead of playing the mission or playing the game the way that it's intended to be played. And I understand that. People agreed with me on that when I kind of relayed that opinion. And that's interesting to me. I think that there can be some reform there, and there should be some reform there, and there are ways to do that. One of the other things I think that could really improve this process would be to have a judge program. Now, the one guy who I was talking to told me that they may not be able to do this because there's not money in it like there is in Magic. I mean, as far as money in Magic, they've got some pretty high prizes for the top Grand Prix, right? Like, what are we talking money-wise for a Grand Prix win?
Winning a Grand Prix is generally around $3,500.
That's for winning the Grand Prix, but you can cash prize even lower places, right?
I can't remember how far down they go and still win money.
This was a long time ago, but I saw that even in the top 50 at some events, there's a chance to win
64.
Money. Top 64, right? You can actually win money up to $200, right?
Something, yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's not nothing. But somebody said because there's no money in competitive 40K that they could never do something like a judge program, like pay for travel or whatever else. But as we know, of course, Games Workshop is a rather large company. They do have funds and capital, and I think that there could be a judge program established where you have player rewards and player incentives to get people to sign up, take tests, be certified as 40K judges, and then have those people run events, and then just like Wizards does, and then you would have a lot of these debates cut off. It would end with a judge's ruling, and it does anyway. There were judges, of course, at Frontline's tournament, They didn't have I don't think like a judge per table or anything like that. And I'm not saying they did a bad job or anything. They did a great job. What's that?
It's usually the TO that handles all the decisions on games and such.
You mean for like 40K tournaments?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, I think they do this very well. They've been doing it, for a couple years now. So this is the, like I said, largest 40K tournament in the world, and there were 400 people playing in this event. So everything was, everyone did a great job executing what they did. But I think that there are ways probably that could be improved, and everyone seemed to kind of agree with that sentiment. But again, kind of steering it back, I would like to see maybe a booth or something set up to kind of cover the narrative on the event just as much as the competitive was, and I think that'd be a cool thing to do. So it's just one of those things that we got to kind of plan for and figure out how we're going to do it the next time. So, and hopefully you're going to be there with me next year, right?
Yeah,
that's a yes.
I reckon I can take some time off.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're going to be. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So we're gonna kind of switch gears to. We have an escalation league going on. A friend of mine has started an 40K escalation league.
Yeah, this kind of goes back to the last podcast we did where I was talking about a campaign I did way back in the day, and it just so happens we have 2 area locations that are starting escalation leagues. One's going on this week. It's starting this week, and the other one is in March.
In March?
March.
Oh, I didn't know the other one was in March. The one that's going on in March is not an escalation league. That is Jamie Hoffey's at Auto Master Auto Body, and I don't think it's escalation. I think that is just something completely different, actually. So we are going to be talking about that as well, but we probably want to get more into that. Maybe we'll get more into his on the next cast. I think he did send me rules for his tournament model. But as far as the escalation goes, for anyone who doesn't know what an escalation league or game is, week 1 we're going to set up matches and have points with 500-point armies. Week 2 we're going to increase that to 1,000-point armies. Week 3 will be a team game. That's going to be 1,500-point armies. Week 4 will be 2,000 points, and then week 5 is going to be 2,500 points, and this is going to be an apocalypse game. So the rules are for this tournament. The army list that we have to have in this, they have to carry through each match, meaning that you're going to field your first 500-point game will carry through to the 2,000-point game, okay? So you may change your squad size, you can change your weapons, your war gear on the units, anything that you want to tweak basically there, you can change that throughout the campaign. Week 5, like I said, that's going to be the apocalypse game, and you will be allowed to change your army as you see fit for the final battle, and Titans are going to be allowed in that event. So the campaign basically is divided into 2 factions. We've got the Xenos and we've got the Imperium, and an army can be built using up to 3 detachments. So keep in mind, an army may duplicate a single detachment 1 time. The example of this would be like a list can include 2 CADs, but not 3 CADs, or a single CAD and 2 allied detachments, or 3 formations, 2 of which of those are the same formation, etc. Okay? Now, regardless of detachments, no more than 2 fortifications and 1 super heavy or gargantuan Lord of War may be taken from the Lord of War list below, and he actually outlines what those are in the tournament sheet. There is an exception. 1 detachment in the army can include an Imperial Knight or a Renegade Knight, so long as that detachment restriction allows for multiple Lords of War. You can exceed the 0 to 1 Lord of War restriction for that detachment, as long as all the other Lord of War are also Imperial Knights or Renegade Knights. And the guidelines that are being used to determine which super heavy gargantuan creature Lord of War are allowed. Lord of War choice is allowed, again, as long as it doesn't violate any of the following rules. It has to be larger than 5 blast D weapon. It has a Hellstorm template weapon with Torrent. It has a larger than 5-inch blast weapon that ignores cover. It has a super heavy flyer or flying gargantuan creature, or it is a super heavy flyer or flying gargantuan creature. It has a Titan stat line. We mean by this Lord of War can have a stat line similar to or better than any of the Titan class super heavy vehicles, so like the Warhound, the Revenant, that kind of stuff. Real big stuff. So there is an exception here as well. If the Lord of War has easy access to means to violate the above criteria, such as example through the psychic power, or war gear like a marker light paired with a Lord of War larger than 5-inch blast weapon, etc. In that case, we can simply disallow the war gear item. We'll do that instead with the Battle of Collect Legacy of Glory on the Imperial Lords of War. So there are the exceptions. And then, of course, it goes through and lists what those can be. The fortifications, all fortification data slates, the upgrades from the Stronghold Assault Book and data slates like Plasma Obliterator are allowed. The Macro Cannon Aquila Strongpoint and the Vortex Missile Aquila Strongpoint are not allowed. No fortification networks can be taken. The fortification network is designed as listed as such in their data slate, or data slate with more than one fortification in it, such as the Tidewall Gun Fort. As far as veteran abilities, these abilities will be granted by units that do exceptional during the matches. So, an ability granted via a chart and dice rules. Also, the granting of a veteran ability will be determined by the opponent. If a unit has a veteran ability and they die, the ability will also be dead. You cannot have more than one veteran ability per unit. The way that games are going to be scored are games will be decided by match points. So, the points will determine individual winners and the winning faction. So match points are going to be scored by each game, where a win is going to be 4 points, a tie will be 2.5 points, a loss will be 1 point. Now, should a tie of match points occurs, overall victory points earned in the league will be compared in an attempt to break that tie. So you got to record your victory points basically after every game. You can score extra battle points for the following. Before each game, you will have a chance to add more to your battle points, and painting scores will be used in the following way. 0.5 points if the majority of the models have 3 different colors. 0.5 points if the majority of models' bases have multiple basing materials. And if you meet the requirements, a total of 1 match point will be added for that round. Now, it is possible to score a total of 5 match points or less at the end of that round, and during the final APOC game, each faction is going to have chances to score points to add to the total points by your faction. I am playing the Imperial on the Imperial side, and I'm taking an Imperial Guard list.
Yep, letting them borrow some of my goodies.
Yes, I am borrowing the Commissar's wonderful metal box units, and what I have gone with for my first 500-point game list is I'm going to be taking a Lehman Russ tank. So I've got my Lehman Russ squadron. The Lehman Russ is going to be taking the Demolisher Siege Cannon, and it's got multi-melta sponsons, a heavy bolter, and we went ahead and put fire barrels into the cannon as well. So
yeah, we had the 10 points to spare. Had to use it somehow.
Yeah,
but
why not?
What he's talking about is the armored shield formation.
Yes. Oh, I almost forgot that. Yes.
When you buy the getting started one for the Imperial Guard, where you get the Lehman Russ tank and the 10-man squad.
Yeah.
The rules come out of that, and that's basically what he's using in this 500-point game. He's using that formation. Along with Vindicare Assassin.
Yes, we put a Vindicare Assassin in there. It's got a 10-man infantry guard squad, and we've got one guy with a missile launcher and one guy with a grenade launcher.
He told me he's playing against Necrons in his first 2 games, so yes, I figure that's why we went with the Demolisher, basically to drop whatever comes his way.
Well, I'm hoping that the Vindicare Assassin, just with his crazy range, you said he does D3 wounds, right?
That's the Turbo Penetrator round.
Turbo Penetrator.
It's one of the rounds that you have to pick before you shoot.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll see how this goes. I mean, maybe we'll record the game as well. And then we went with a Primaris Psyker. So tell them about the decision to put in the Primaris Psyker. What are you thinking? What were you thinking there?
To be honest, I never take one in my army. The Psychic Phase is kind of Greek to me. I don't really understand it because I don't really do it in any kind of game.
Well, the Psychic Phase sucks. That's another thing that people said, is that they want to see basically the Psychic Phase Age of Sigmarified. I don't know how I can really say that, but they want to see the Psychic Phase like cut down. It needs to be super simplified than what it is now. People are saying that the Psychic Phase just basically sucks. And I don't use too many Psychers in my games either, but I have used Psychers in games, so we'll see how this is. But the thought process was to give the tank invisibility, right? Hoping to get that power to give the tank invisibility.
Hoping, yeah. And at the 500-point level, it's really hard to like stop something like that from happening because we did make him a mastery level 2 psyker. We paid the extra points
Right.
to do that. So we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, the options for this army, like we're looking at, let's see here, the commissar, but he doesn't really have anything special with him. I mean, just the
that's just
the
the base 25 point commissar. That...
So, well, I mean, we'll see how this does for 500 points. Obviously, I think it's allowed. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to ally up with different stuff as the point levels increase to kind of like fill out my army positions. I mean, if not, I could add just more guard stuff and just play with more guard stuff. How many points of guard do you have now?
I mean, it's not as big as you think it is. I
thought you had like 2,000 points of guard stuff.
Right now I have about 2,300 points. I don't own any super heavy tanks or anything crazy like that. But
yeah, but by the end of this league, you're going to be getting the Baneblade, right?
Oh yeah, once that tax money comes rolling in.
Tax money. Yeah,
I do plan on getting a Baneblade if it ever gets back in stock on the GW site.
Once that tax money rolls in, I'm getting me some Oscar Mayer Wiener fans.
Yeah.
And I'm going to kill you with them, too.
As long as you put the decal on, it's all good.
the Oscar Mayer Wiener sticker. I have to go find one. Like, are there still Oscar Mayer Wiener stuff? I feel like that's not a thing anymore. Did they just, like, drop that advertising campaign?
Well, yeah, I haven't seen it for quite some time. Everybody over in Europe or throughout the world that's possibly listening to us have no idea what we're talking about. But
what, they have Oscar Mayer Wieners in Europe? Maybe.
I'm sure
I don't know.
But they probably didn't have the commercials.
Maybe. I don't think I saw anything Oscar Mayer Wiener when I'm in Ireland. Not as if I was like looking like, God, man, I just really need some hot dogs right now. I'm sick of all this fish and chip shit. I just need me a good old-fashioned American Oscar Mayer Wiener hot dog. Anyway, so what's going to happen is I'm going to go play some 40K, and then we're going to come back and we'll talk about how that went and some other stuff. So we'll be back in a bit.
Man, that transition music kind of sounds like the evening news, kind of sort of. Well, here's a news flash. So my tag team partner over here, Inquisitor Nathan, went to the shop. I tagged along with them, and
we were
got to watch
Wings, Wheels, and Waves. We'll specify that.
Our local place that we go to, and I watched him play a couple of his escalation matches. And me being, the faithful companion that I am, I let him borrow some of my guard for his match. And
okay, I want to, before you get into all this, I talked a little bit about the list I was going to play. The first escalation match was 500 points, so it took a Lehman Russ, a Primaris Psyker, a Vindicare Assassin. I was running the Armored Shield formation with Mike's borrowed guard stuff. Now, this list was set up to be hilarious, and I should have won my first game. I rolled on the telepathy table, and I had an invisible Lehman Russ. It was awesome. I was winning. I was scoring points, objectives. I was killing stuff. And then I forgot about my Psyker phase because I was on the phone with Mike asking if he was going to get there. Now, not blaming him. It was totally my fault. I forgot my Psyker phase, and I lost myself the game. So.
Very important. Very important.
I hate Psykers. I hate using Psykers. It's stupid. They should Age of Sigmar the Psychic phase. But anyway, that lost me the first game against the Necrons that I should have won. And then I played the Necrons again after that. You were there for that game.
I was indeed. It was painful to watch, by the way.
Shut up, man. So, what did he didn't actually even have any destroyers, did he? What did he have?
I don't know. I don't know the Necron army very well. Just a bunch of dudes, and they bent you over and do what they do.
Good.
Definitely got back up.
Watch it, Commissar. Watch
left
it,
and right. They reanimated like it's their job. That's what they did.
Yeah, reanimation. So I don't know. You guys tell us what you think. I think that the Necrons should only be able to do the reanimation protocols like once or twice per game. Maybe not once per game, because it's what they do. It's fluffy. They come back. But there are some times there's just some stuff where if they get hit with like an AP2 weapon, they get a normal or a cover save or whatever the case may be, and they can do the reanimation. Okay, fine. But again and again and again, they should just be dead. At some point, you just have to be dead. If you get shot with something that is that strong, everybody else is pretty much just dead, unless you have an invulnerable save or you have cover saves. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me complaining, And I did enjoy the games. It's not that I didn't enjoy the games or felt like it was a particularly cheesy list or anything like that. It just, I don't know. Do you think there's anything to? Do you think that really needs nerfed, or do you think I'm just being a salty crybaby?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, that game was a lot harder to win against his army that you played against than any other like usual.
Well,
game
I was surprised, even in the 500 game, how many Necron units they could fit in a 500 point list, and then in a 1,500 or not 1,000 point list. I was like, holy crap, that is a lot of guys. Now, granted, the Lehman Russ is a lot of points, and like the Vindicare, like I had stuff in my list that was a lot of points, but I wasn't ready, I wasn't prepared, partially because of my noobishness, partially because I just, I don't know Necrons that well either, to boot. I haven't read or researched them at all, and I was not prepared for them to be taking that much stuff in such a low list. So we'll see how it goes. Someone did tell me that there was a Fell Blade in a 1,000-point game. That's super interesting. Of course, Mike and I are playing on the Imperial side. Mike is going to play his games this Friday, right?
Yes, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, and I won't be there, so unfortunately I won't get to see that, but you'll have to tell us how that goes. Actually, you should film it. You should film your games. You should take the GoPro and film your games.
All right.
So we should do that.
My 500-point list is going to be the same exact one that he used in his 500-point game, and we'll just see how things go. Like, it's kind of unfair to let him borrow my army when he's never played it ever. So it's kind of hard to like explain the ins and outs and what to do. And
I understood that I had to shoot stuff with the Vindicare, and I have to make my tank and my Lehman Russ invisible. That much I got. Like, and I understood how the weapons worked. It wasn't terribly complex, but, there are some nuances with guard maybe that I just didn't, I forgot to do. Like my Psyker phase. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot my stupid effing Psyker phase. That's just so poor. But, so yeah, I don't know if we talked about this yet. Did we talk about rumors and news yet? Did we talk about the rumors with Cypher and, like, how the Dark Angel Cypher is going to kill Abaddon? Did we cover that yet?
No, we haven't, actually.
Oh, okay.
We read about it, but...
We read about it.
Covered it.
So, yeah, rumor is that the Dark Angel Cypher Lord, whoever that is going to kill Abaddon, and Abaddon is not going to survive the most recent comings of the 40k end times cycle that we are in.
Back in the day when I first started playing, I ran Cypher and a couple of my... he's pretty fun to play with.
You ran a Cypher, because we don't know who Cypher is. It could be a title passed on to multiple people, apparently, from what I understand.
Oh, well, as far as the game goes, it's just one model. It's a dude with dual pistols. He's got a plasma pistol and a bolt pistol, and he does things, puts in work.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the Chaos stuff in my Dark Angels box, but I'm not really digging the Dark Angels stuff. And I've had people tell me that they think Dark Angels are going to switch over to Chaos, actually. I don't know why. I don't know what the story is or why they would, like, switch sides, but I don't know if you have any information on that or anything. I don't read anything. I haven't read anything about the Dark Angels, so...
Yeah, that's Space Marine fluff in general. I don't generally read about. I usually hear it from like a third-person point of view. So unless you're telling me about, hey, this guy did this and this guy did that.
Well, we have other exciting things coming up, though. So Jamie Hoffey at Automaster Auto Body Shop, not the other local place we play at, he's going to be doing a tournament. We don't have really time or Jamie here to come on and talk about that in this episode, but hopefully we can get him to talk about that, or maybe even just do like a little snippet of something and have him talk about what that's going to be and how we're going to run that. And we'd like to ideally film the games or like live stream games. We're going to do something. I don't know what we're going to do yet, but we're going to do something that we're able to, maybe if it's not like battle reports or from the game, we're going to in some way chronicle or record these games that we're going to be playing for the stuff we're going to be playing for Jamie's thing. So we'll go over the rules and all the details and what that's going to be at a later point. But we were recently talking as well. I didn't think I was going to go because I didn't think I had the vacation time, but Adepticon's coming up. Adepticon is going to be March 23rd through March 26th, and so yeah, we're going to that, right? We're going to go to that
For sure, I'll be there.
We're going to be
there.
All right, we're going to Adepticon. We're going to be at Adepticon, and hopefully, now that we're going to have I'm going to have actual people with me and have Mike with me. We'll be more set up to be doing interviews and streaming and live casts and all that good stuff, and kind of set us up better for that. So that should be a really awesome time. Anyone in the Northeast Ohio area that plays at either Wings, Wheels, and Waves or Automaster Auto Body, we would like to set up a group to go to Adepticon. If you're interested in going to Adepticon and carpooling and traveling in that way, we've done that a lot before with Magic the Gathering tournaments and things. So if you guys are interested and willing to do that, send us a message to the Facebook page, or just look me up, shoot Nate Moran a message on Facebook, or if you have my number, text me. And you're listening to this podcast, of course, all of our friends should be listening to our podcast. If you are not, I will find you. And that is heresy, and the Inquisition will come down on you full force. But, yeah, so we've got that going on. By the way, I almost forgot to ask you, too, what list are you playing tomorrow, Mike?
For, like, how many points?
For the 500 game.
The 500 game, I'm going to use what you used.
So you're using a carbon copy list, just the...
Basically, yeah. It's a Lehman Russ Demolisher with a Vindicare Assassin. Like he was saying, it's the Armored Shield formation. So I'm going to have a 10-man squad with a Commissar walking around with it, getting that 4+ cover save.
Oh, see, I messed that up. The Commissar is a 4+ cover save?
Oh, yeah, the whole squad does.
Oh, God. I screwed that up the entire game.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. In your 1,000-point game, I'm like, your dudes are getting shot, you get a 4+ cover save. As long as you're within 6 inches of the Lehman Russ.
Okay.
Tank.
Yeah, because Armored Shield, that's the point, right?
Yeah, so once your tank got blown up, you were pretty much done.
Oh, well, I couldn't take the 4+ save because he killed it right away. In the 1,000-point game.
Oh, in a 1,000-point game, yeah, that was hard to deal with. But in your 500-point game, like,
well, yeah, I missed that. I guess I did not do that. I should have read more and prepared more for that out of the codex or something. I don't know. But now I had a really enjoyable game the other night against one of our local players at the Auto Body shop. I was playing my Imperial Fist. It was an 1850-point game. I was stretching to get to 1,850 points with my fists because I had kind of bought these Marine pieces from a friend of mine and sort of just piecing stuff together, and I threw in a bunch of tactical squads, a scout squad. I took an Imperial Marine. You can have one Imperial Marine in your army. I don't know if you know what that does, but it's like he's got special stuff. He's got like a one-hit kill pistol and stuff.
Oh yeah?
It's instant death pistol or something like that, but it's like 9-inch range. But he does some neat cute stuff, so that was a really fun game. The player, she was playing Tyranids and had a really awesome list. It was a really fun game. We only went to turn 2. I won through victory points, and we were playing objectives, but it was a really fun game, and I think in different circumstances, she would have just ate me alive. The bugs would have absolutely torn me up. When her Hormagaunts went to shoot at my drop pod, she asked the armor, and I'm like, yeah, those are 12 armor all around. So that was kind of a surprise for her. She was like, oh no, the drop pods were just annoyingly sitting there, kind of hindering her from doing stuff, but it was a really fun game. I want to play more games of 40k like that, but we will also update you guys on the coming escalation games we've got going on too. So yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Did you have anything else you wanted to add before we close it out?
Not really. There's going to be a couple videos of games I'll be in here in the not so distant future. Jamie, the guy that Nate brought up earlier, me and him have a game in the works where it's my guard against his orcs. It's going to be a classic matchup. And we'll try to videotape that and put it up on YouTube for everyone to see.
All right, sounds good. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you next time.